Good afternoon. Yeah, welcome, a warm welcome here from Kerpen in Germany to our Lucas Nuelle webinar about automotive. Thanks a lot for participating. For those who haven't seen me yet, my name is Manfred Albert. I'm the successor of Les, but as you can see, Les is still with us, and we are still in a transition period, and we hope to travel to you together in the next couple of months in order to make a handshake transition with you guys in Asia. We hope that you and your colleagues, your families are all safe. We have to say that the COVID-19 situation is still not under control, and we see new waves coming. We see mutations in, for example, in India, and so that worries us a lot. The situation here in Germany is improving. We are certainly get ground under our feet here. The vaccination process is going on, and for example, this week we could vaccinate 1 million people a day here. So we are really taking up speed, and we believe that in the mid of the summer, the most of the people got the first and the second shot here. But before we can travel, I think we have to find a way how to inform you about our latest developments and latest technologies we have developed. And so we need a way to communicate with you. And you got in the last months, you got invitations to different webinars, focusing very much on the techniques of those training systems. Today, the setup is a bit different. Today, we have invited only our sales partners around Asia in order to focus a bit more general, in order to focus more on the unique selling points and the sales perspective and market figures for those equipment. We intend to go on with this kind of webinar for our sales agent on a regular basis. So in a couple of weeks, we will present different topics. We hope that this format will find you acceptance and also is being of interest for you. Today we will start with automotive. We believe that you can see that the automotive industry is going through the biggest change ever. So we see electrical vehicle coming up, and we see also fully automated driving coming into place over the next decades. And that will mean a big change in the workmanship. So we need people to be trained on those new high sophisticated electrical systems. And that's a big area where Lucas Nuelle is focusing on, where we have already a leading position in the market. We have to defend, and we would like to extend. And so today, we will focus on the automotive systems, especially on the hybrid vehicle and electrical vehicle trainer. And also we will cover later on some driver assistance systems. Today we have with us, we have Christian and Daniel from the product management. They will present the systems, and the idea is having now, let me say, a 50-minute session of presentation of the different systems. And later on, we would like to have a session where you can ask questions. And if it's needed, of course, we can do a follow-up session, a more session focusing more on functionality, we can do later on and schedule individually. The session, the presentation will be videotaped so that you can show this session later on to your colleagues who were not able to attend today. So thanks a lot again for participating. I hand now over to Christian and Daniel, or if Les would like to say some greetings, he can do so now.
Just very short. Great to see you all there. That's unfortunately the only way we can get ourselves to come together in one place. So I'm very, very grateful that you've all taken this time, especially as is a Friday afternoon for you, and for some of you celebrating Idul Fitri. So this is very good that you joined us. Thanks very much. We appreciate it very much. And I think we have the two best guys here that can give you a good insight into this product line. Daniel and Christian are both our best experts. So I hope it will be very interesting for you. And please feel free at the end to ask any questions, so we can see that we can improve this this subject area for you also. Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. I'd like now to hand over to Daniel and to Christian. I don't know which one starts first. Together. Then come into the picture and get a move on. Okay, thanks very much. We will be here all the time, so please feel free if you have any questions. Yeah, thanks a lot. Take care and see you later.
Okay, thanks. We don't need it. We've got our own microphones. Thank you very much. Okay. So Manfred, Les.
Hello, guys.
Good to see everyone there.
Absolutely.
Today. So thanks, guys. Yeah, so today, Chris.
Yes.
We want to, sorry.
All good? Make start. I just want to say it's a great pleasure again to have you in front of the camera. Daniel and I traveled a lot back in the day, of course. We all know it, the situation, so I don't want to point at that as well. But yeah, we're really looking forward to travel again to your countries all over there, what I've seen, Australia, Singapore, China, Malaysia, what do I forgotten? Philippines and all the great
about 20 countries.
Yeah, exactly. All the great countries over there, but we're really looking forward to travel again to you guys and see you again. Now, today we have the chance just to give you a great update about the latest automotive products which we have here. So we weren't lazy, especially not during the COVID pandemic now. We've put a lot of effort into new training system and we have a clear focus today. So yeah, what are the main topics today, Daniel?
We're going to have a look at a few different things. Mainly, we're going to give you a bit of a reminder of what's here, because obviously we're here in our showrooms. We'll show you some of the older things that you might have forgotten about, but we're also going to have a look at some of the new things. So what we're calling ADAS. I think in Asia, a lot of you are calling it auto drive. But obviously, as Manfred mentioned, we're going to have a look at electric vehicles as well. We've got some new things going on there.
Absolutely.
So just to build on what you're saying, Christian, there's going to be a lot of you that we know. You've either been here to Germany before, or we've been to your countries. So good to see you again. Joe, I've seen you sitting there before, so good to see you, right? But all the others that we haven't met before, thank you very much for joining. As the guys just mentioned before, the best way here is we're going to just continue on. This is not going to be too interactive right now. We're going to show you, and we're not going into detail about the equipment. We're just going to give you the unique selling points that are important for you as a sales team. So what is important? Who are the important customers that you're going to market this to? What are the important topics that are covered? And it's going to be recorded so you can pass it on. It's not going to be made public. It'll be for you guys internally. Yep. But towards the end, there will be some questions. So the best way to get your questions through anytime is just put it into chat. And towards the end, we'll have a look at those and answer those. If we do have time, and if anyone's still around at the end, we can have it, open it up to interactive and then ask any questions or show you in deep detail what you might need to know. As far as the technology, going into detail.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing. So like Daniel said, and we are really looking, and it's appreciated your feedback. So by the end, ask your questions, of course, but also give us a feedback, because this event here is exclusively for you. We are doing that absolutely for you that you can benefit from that. So this is what is important about that we do it that way, that you can get the most out of it. So we are absolutely happy. If there's anything what we could do better in the end, for example, just let us know that we can improve this event for the future as well, so that you get the best value out of it.
But I think also, Chris, product feedback is important as well.
Absolutely.
So normally we would have come and seen you once or twice last year. Obviously we didn't. But every time we speak with you, you say, hey, Chris, have you thought about this product or that product? Or, you know, we're getting a lot of interest for this topic. And that, you know, we're missing out on that feedback. We miss you guys. So if you see anything that you say, hey, look, that's really interesting in my country, or have you thought about that? Also put that in the chat. We'll take it all on board.
Exactly. And please be absolutely open to us. So we are talking open to you. We give you all the help and all the support which we can get. And we are absolutely happy if you give us the feedback, what you like or what you dislike. So that would be perfect. Awesome. But right now, so it's much later in your country. It's pretty early here in Germany, but we don't want to, lose any time right now and just start with the topic.
One last thing before we get, we said about we're not going into detail, but we have 5 hours worth of training webinars that we've done on these exact products. So there's no point going into any technical details now. Again, we'll show you the overview, but the boys will send you out a email with all of the brochures that you need, all of the marketing material, and the links to these webinars that you find on YouTube. The links are not public, so you'll only be able to find them with this link. Those links you could send on to your customers if you think that's a good thing. There's no trade secrets or anything there. That's some training that we've done. So, but you'll get that and you can go into detail and you'll find out as much as you want about all of these topics.
And that's a perfect way then. So please use this YouTube link there, because when your customers are interested in any kind of these products, for example, for the car trains of hybrid electric vehicle or for the ADAS system, please start with these links then at first. So make this the start of the contact for the different products, for example. We are absolutely happy to make individual webinars for your customers, of course.
If you got a customer coming up that says,
absolutely,
okay, I really like the car trains, I might buy 2 or 3 of them, but I'm not sure. What's the difference between having a car and a car train?
Start there with these videos, give them the videos, because there they get a perfect introduction into the single systems, and they get a really detailed look into it. And then when there are still questions, and when they say, okay, can I talk to the product managers or something like that, then we're absolutely happy to do the webinar. But this then is much more focused on the important points. All right.
So while we're here, let's just have a quick look around at the room, just to remind you of what's here before we go into the ADAS systems.
Absolutely. So what Daniel's mentioned as well, that we get we start with the overview about our products, or in respective to that, to our automotive training concept. So Daniel, we're not just selling products, of course. So the Nuelle products, or especially the automotive training system, there is a philosophy behind it. So we don't want to sell just a hardware. We want to sell a value for the training and for the people who are doing the apprenticeship there, of course. So when a customer is asking you, what's the benefit out of the training system of Nuelle, or what is the strategy behind it? So why should I buy that? What is the outcome? What would you say?
Yeah, it's a good point. And that's probably the one point that you come across all of the time when you're coming across customers. So in Australia, before I met Nuelle, I met Les from where I was working in TAFE. A lot of you in the Asia region would know TAFE in Australia. It's the large training provider. We didn't have Nuelle back in the day. We used cars and we had to make everything ourselves. So all of the breakout boxes, everything. Once we found out about Nuelle, it made our life so much easier. So you can obviously teach everything you need on a vehicle. The question is, how efficient do you want to have it? Obviously, vehicles nowadays have become so complex. Like, you have a look at the CAN bus.
Yes.
Perfect example.
That's right.
So, and we're going to do a video on that, I would say in the next couple of months, about what CAN bus is and how detailed it is and how difficult it is on a new vehicle to understand. we all know you look in a vehicle now and it's completely covered. Where do I start? And so we have the philosophy here at Lucas Nuelle, learning fundamentals at the uni train, working your way up to system understanding at the car train, and then working on to the prepared vehicle as well.
Daniel mentioned the vehicle. So of course, the vehicle is like the focus element of everything. But how would you describe the real vehicle in the context of our training concept at Lucas Nuelle?
Well, that's the end point. So the students, you know, they need to fix cars. That's the whole point of training technicians. You know, you need to be able to diagnose and repair a vehicle. But that sounds easy, diagnose and repair. The real trick is to understand how to make that diagnosis. It's not quite an easy thing.
So you really have to climb the hill, basically. And when you are at the top of it, then you are ready to work on the real vehicles. So the Lucas Nuelle training system absolutely do not replace the vehicle. They are like the red carpet towards the vehicle. So with our training system, we prepare the students in that way that they can go easily with self-confidence, but also with enough knowledge to the real vehicle. Because especially the two topics which we are talking today about, so speaking of hybrid and electric vehicle and about the ADAS system, they brings quite a few challenges with it, which makes it so important to understand everything beforehand, before you approach to the real vehicle, right?
Exactly. And I think having a look at the systems here, it will become really obvious with the ADAS systems, how it's based off of the Unitrain. So I think for everyone there, you're part of the Lucas Nuelle family. You understand the Unitrain, but let's just discuss that in another way, just to maybe give you some tips about how you can sell this to your customers. So the Unitrain, I love the analogy where it's like a cordless drill. You know,
Makita.
I've got a Makita cordless drill at home and I've got 2 batteries for it. So click, I can use it. Not long ago, I needed to buy an angle grinder.
Okay.
I didn't go and buy a Bosch angle grinder. I bought a Makita angle grinder because I've got the same batteries, the same charger, everything. That's the way I see the Unitrain. So once you've got that Unitrain, it might be expensive to buy it once, but once you've got it, click, done, change. And then, you know, you will see this over the coming weeks. Next door, renewable energies, smart grid, pneumatics, automation, smart home, telecommunications, all run off of the Unitrain. And it brings so much value for money for the customer when they can buy that once and then use it for all of the different Lucas Nuelle product areas. LabSoft is still the same. You know, the Unitrain is still the same. Get it set up once, and it makes it so much more efficient for the schools to increase the amount of areas that they're training on.
And that's a very good point. I mean, we see it in the hardware, that the hardware always stays the same. But what is also very important and to point out is that even the e-learning, so the LabSoft, we are always working in the same environment. So once the school, the university, whatever the training center has bought the Lucas Nuelle equipment and integrated that into their all-day life of learning, once the student have understand how to use LabSoft, they can use any kind of automotive course, and not only automotive, also all the other product areas Daniel has talking about. They are all easy to access because LabSoft is always the same. You don't need to learn other software. You don't need to handle other products there. Everything comes with LabSoft and you work with LabSoft. And that's makes it so easy and time efficient, because you don't have to learn single softwares, the handling of single softwares or single products. Everything is following the same philosophy here. So
before we start here, let's just have a really quick look around at some of the new things you might have missed over the last couple of years. Some of the laboratory systems that we have here. So new system here might be interesting for you. It's got the racks here. So you can see these are the Unitrain courses built directly into there. You can either work on the systems like that, or you can just use them as storage, pick them up like all of our normal modular systems. Obviously got the power channel at the top there. We have the systems that have been around for a few years now. Motor management as a modular system. We know that in some countries, modular is well liked as opposed to the car train systems. on the back here are all of the car train systems as well. They've been around for a long time, so you should know those. But again, if you need more information, just let us know.
And over there as well. So speaking of modular systems, we have also, maybe you know it, we have also our different version of the lighting systems. So what's the big deal here about being modular? Modular means here that you really can create different lighting systems. So we can start basically with back in the day when it all starts with halogen light. So talking of this system, for example, where you see it here, or what you see here so far. So this is the very, very start of automotive lighting. But then we can climb up the technological ladder, and then we come to the point where we have modern lighting, as you see it here. So here we're talking then about LED, xenon compared to halogen, and also daytime running light and different bus systems. Daniel mentioned it before. For example, CAN bus, LIN bus, which you can't see on a real vehicle because it's hidden underneath the structure. And here with the unit train, but also with this lighting panel, we bring everything to the surface so that you can see it, basically. So
Christian,
this, yes.
Is that something you can upgrade from the older system? So we've had the older system for a round. Is that something you can upgrade?
Absolutely. So this is why modular is here a big benefit or very cost efficient, because when you, for example, said you have bought this system, which we have quite for a long time right now, because it shows this beginning of automotive lighting, then of course you can just being very cost efficient and just buy this new update packages. We will send you, or you will see that in all the documents, what this is, the order number for that and all that stuff. But it's easy to upgrade that then to this new lighting system, because you just need a few more parts, and you can also use the old parts to make something completely new out of it. So this is the big benefit of being modular, of course. And yes, you can upgrade it.
Perfect. Okay. So let's begin on some of the exciting new topics that we have here. So autonomous driving, autonomous vehicles, auto drive vehicles. It's a big question now. It's obviously one of the largest sections that are coming up. Perhaps, Christian, you can just give us a bit of an idea. What does all that mean?
Yes.
And what are we working towards here? Is ADAS the same as autonomous driving?
So speaking of ADAS, ADAS is now a word which is in everyone's mouth. So what does it mean basically? It means advanced driver assistance systems. So, and this basically answers already the question of Daniel. Has this something to do with autonomous driving, or is that autonomous driving? No, it is not, but it's like the first step. The combination of the single driver assistance system or the advanced driver assistance system will make it possible one day that cars are able to drive completely on their own. But right now we are on a step before. So there are single levels. We are talking of SRA levels of autonomous driving. They are going from 0, like nothing at all, up to 5. Yes, the car can drive on its own. And right now, what is a perfect example, or which is in everyone's mouth when they are talking about autonomous driving, is Tesla, for example. So Tesla has, especially not in Europe, because here we have quite a little bit problems with the insurance stuff and questions of being legal. But in the US, for example, it's very easy for Tesla to use their so-called autopilot function. But is that autonomous driving? No, it's not. It's a bunch of driver assistance systems which make it possible to steer or to control the car in a very, how you say, in a very narrow perspective, basically, that it can drive on a street, that it can turn over or make a lane change and just, speed up on a car or something like that. But basically, we are not talking of autonomous driving here. We're talking here of level 3 out of 5 from this SRA. Right. So right now, that means, but ADAS, like, it's also absolutely important, and it is the pre-step for it. So what is the big challenge of being or of ADAS systems inside the vehicle? The ADAS systems are hidden in the car. And normally you can just use them when you are driving the car. So you need to have the car and you need to go out on the road, for example. So I don't know, when we are talking about ADAS system, what systems are coming to your mind? which are very famous?
Yeah, there's a few different ones. There's obviously the adaptive cruise control. That's been around for a little while now.
Yes.
But what we're seeing as well is the LiDAR systems.
Exactly.
Becoming more and more popular. Obviously, camera systems are being integrated in the vehicles as well. Maybe, Della, you could just show us quickly at the front of the vehicle here. No, with this camera, I mean, switch back this camera, please. So Christian's over there at the calibration table.
Exactly. So
what does that mean, Christian? What's the importance of that thing?
So this is just the thing which is outside the car, basically. So what we see here is the calibration tool, everything here, which you need in order to calibrate the sensors. But beforehand, just to make sure, what you said before, that on the car, like Daniel mentioned, we have radar systems, we have LiDAR systems, and we have camera systems. So that are the three sensors through which all the different ADAS functions are made available. And like I said, they are hidden inside the car. So the camera is behind the front shield, the radars are in the front bumper or in the rear bumpers, and they could basically be everywhere around the car. So it's really hard to understand what the whole system is on the car, how it works together, how it's connected with each other, and how the single sensors are working, and especially what function they are realizing. And that's something I learned many years ago from Les Twine, Mr. Twine there, about what our philosophy is. Bringing it back to that philosophy, he said one of the best things I've ever heard here is what we do is we take those circuits out and we place them here on the Unitrain. So instead of having it all confusing inside the vehicle, we put it out on a Unitrain card and you can look at everything right there. And it's right there, easy to do experiments on, easy to see how it works. And what Daniel said is so clear on the ADAS systems now of the Unitrain or based on Unitrain. Why is that so? Because in order to teach the ADAS system, let's speak of ACC, you said it, adaptive cruise control. So we need a modern car, which is equipped with all the sensors and actors, and we need enough place to drive because the ACC, the radar, is looking for a distance of up to 300, 500 meters. So we need a lot of space. We need a modern car. And what's the most important task in the workshop, and that's what everything is about the calibration process. So that means after an accident, for example, like I said, the radar is at the front bumper. So that means if you just hit it very lightly, maybe you can destroy the radar, or you can bring it out of angle. So yes, I was just going to say, before we go too deep into detail, we've got 1.5 hours in full technical details. Exactly. About this. So maybe let's just talk about what are the advantages of using this system here. So we've seen the large system out the front there. Exactly, and that's the other point with the calibration. So when the radar sensor or whatever is out of angle, you need to go to the workshop in order to do the calibration. And basically what does calibration means? That the radar or the camera looks again straightly and as the car manufacturer wants it on the road, that it can detect everything what it's in front of the car. When it looks too high, it won't work. It will see birds and planes and something like that. If it looks too narrow in front of the street, then it will see everything but not the other cars. So that would mean in the best case, the system will say there's a failure, it won't work. In the worst case, it won't detect the failure and it thinks it's working correctly, but it doesn't work correctly. So for example, it's detecting a car on the other lane and not on the lane in front of you. Okay. So this is why calibration is so important. And there it comes back to the Unitrain system then. As you said before, we need there the car and the big calibration panel. Very, very expensive. You need a lot of space, but we have the solution how you can make it much easier. And this is when we're taking a look here at the ACC systems, for example. So what you see here right now, I think Della can show it. So you have on Daniel's side, there's the radar, the original radar, which coming directly from the car. And you see it on the picture there. This is basically installed somewhere in the front bumper. It's a real radar, but it's calibrated or it's designed for the use in classrooms. So we're not speaking of a range of 500 meters, but we can here bring it down to 1 meter or even less, but it works like on a real road or on a real car. And like I said, the most important point about it is calibration, how to calibrate the sensor. And can we do that with the system? Yeah, of course we can do that with the system. This is what you see here. And basically you see now the little brother of the big system over there. So the students are learning to work on this system at their table in classroom. Each student can do the calibration, learn it, how it works, learn which components we need, and just do the calibration process. And then they can, you want to add something?
I just want to see, because we can see it on the screen right now, this is the little laser. This is actually what you see in the workshop, but in small. So
exactly
shrunk down on a way that it fits onto the desktop. So again, we're talking about USPs here, not into the detail. So that's one of the massive USPs of this system. Everyone else at their schools sell the large pieces of equipment where you need a dedicated room. You need to literally have a whole room because you need to paint the floors. You need to have these big panels up on the walls.
Absolutely.
You don't want to get them dirty, things like that. And so some places will obviously ask you, okay, but I like that. I want to do that sort of thing. Okay, that's fine. We understand. You guys are sales guys. You need to bring across the details and the advantages of using this system.
And they even shall do it on the big systems. But this is like what we said at the beginning. What is the principal idea of our concept? Learn it here at the Nuelle system inside the classroom. And then once you've understood it, you can go over to the real vehicle, to the real system and do it there. Because it's one-on-one, it's the same process, it goes hand in hand.
So Christian, you and I have done also a webinar for Belron. Belron is car glass. That in different countries, they have different names, but they're basically the world's biggest windshield replacement company. They are also very interested in this because their technicians have to replace the windshields. And often, you know, that's not necessarily a full technician job. You don't need to have the skills of a full, to be a technician to replace the windscreens. It's obviously a skilled job, but they don't understand what the cameras, what the LiDAR systems are. And so they're often putting the windows in, and they need to calibrate it. So they need to understand it. And so they're also very interested, or it doesn't work. They've put in the wrong cables.
Exactly.
So being able to diagnose it. And that's it's really the German philosophy of understanding how systems work. That's really the essence here. You know, delving deep into how the systems work. And Christian, you've written the courses on this, and it goes into, you know, even for the radar, what's the Doppler effect and how does that interact? It's really interesting. We go into that in the webinar as well. So please have a look at that and check it out in detail.
And what's typical for our system as well, everything comes with a real fault simulation. I mean, that's the reason why or what's Daniel talking about. A car doesn't come to the workshop when everything is fine.
Yeah.
A car comes into the workshop when there's a problem. And can we simulate the problems which are typical, on which are existing in the field? Yes, we can do it with each of that systems. You have in LabSoft, the well-known integrated fault simulation. Just click on the single workshop orders and the fault will directly be induced into the training system. If you want to have the normal system back again, just leave the page and you're fine with it. So that means we have real hands-on training. We have a deep analysis in the course with a lot of videos and animations. And we have the extensive fault simulation for hands-on training and to create these diagnostic skills. And this is the perfect start then, or the perfect preparation for the real vehicle. You want to add something? I
think also, if you're looking at who the customers are here, this is an interesting field because I think it's not, as we just mentioned, there's the windshield repairers is one. There's technicians that need to know these vehicles as well. But I honestly think this could also be like an introductory level for engineers as well, understanding the systems that they will have developed into autonomous vehicles later down the track. So I think this particular system has a very large base of usage there. So that could fit perfectly to the university as well. If you want to develop further all this camera tasks and all this camera software, radar software as well,
of course, you have first to understand how it works and how you have to calibrate it and all that. And once you have created this fundamental basis, then you can go on that. And like you said, these systems are the perfect, the perfect solution for it, because you don't need much time in order to get it into operation. You just start the computer, sorry, connect the system up. This takes a couple of minutes and then you're good to go.
Exactly. What's the future look like here, Christian? Do you have anything else that's in development right now that, so you know the story here, we're continually developing projects, different products. For you to understand, you know, normally we don't tell you about products until they're finished, because it puts everyone under pressure. You know, sales guys love to sell things and all of a sudden it's sold, but it's not ready. But I think in this case, this is building up into, say, a laboratory. I think,
absolutely,
Christian, you've got plans to turn into like a autonomous vehicle, auto drive lab. So maybe just tell us about some of the products that are in development now.
That's absolutely true and absolutely makes sense here. When we take an outlook into the future, then we will see, or like we mentioned at the beginning, that the connection of the single ADAS systems will lead us to the autonomous driving. And this is why we go step by step extending our offer for ADAS systems in order, in the last step, to realize a laboratory for autonomous driving. And like Daniel said here, for example, so we have the radar function and we have the LiDAR function, which is similar to radar or goes in the same, LiDAR is not an own driver assistance system, it just supports the other system, but it also has to be calibrated. The next step is, and Daniel's just showing it here, it's the camera. So we have an existing ADAS system or unit train system for traffic sign recognition, which basically, is focusing the different kind of traffic signs, and the camera is reading the signs and gives the information to the car, and the car can do whatever it wants to do with it. So just show it to the driver or adjust the speed to the traffic sign. But when we are talking about further developments like Daniel do, the camera, and there you see how everything is connected with each other. The same camera, which is used here for traffic sign recognition, it's used at the same time for the active lane assist, for example. So what is the lane assist? It's like the eye from the car on the road, and it's keeping the lane, it's keeping the car in the lane. So you can't go over the lane if you don't want to, the car will keep you in the lane. This is a new system which is right now on developing and is adding the product range of ADAS system then, and make it step by step, we're going more and more then to our autonomous driving vehicle.
What's really cool about that one is you use this system to calibrate it.
Absolutely.
So, for example, we've got the white and the black on here. One is for the radar system and the other one is for the camera. So being able to make sure, and we go into detail about that again in the webinar. But what's cool about that lane assist, what I found, is it's got the road.
Exactly.
Inside that there's a virtual instrument. So instead of having the camera on the vehicle, and obviously normally you would have to drive the vehicle around to experience this, we can do that as a virtual instrument. So the camera is then taking an input from inside a virtual instrument, driving along, and it's interacting on the Unitrain card. That's really cool. That's
where with real cars, for example, a good example is Mercedes. You have to calibrate it in the workshop, and then you have to go on the road for a test drive that it finished the calibration. Here, like Daniel said, we're using the real calibration equipment. Like I said, you have seen it before, it looks exactly the same like the real one there, and it works exactly the same. And what the students are learning here, they can copy one-on-one to the real vehicle then. And this is like, it's like a small workshop basically.
Absolutely.
And when we take a look on the international market, there are basically no other products which are similar to this one.
That's your point.
Yeah, no one else came up to the point that he make it possible to take the real ADAS out of the car and merge it into a system which works like in the real car, but which you just can put on the desk inside the classroom.
There's also, it's not an automotive course, but Shalbus, one of our colleagues, you might learn about this in a couple of weeks in one of the other webinars, but it fits perfectly to this. There's also a machine learning course now, which is looking at the street signs and it's about building the algorithm on how to learn about those street signs. And so that again is obviously more of a research thing at a university. So that's something that will be available as well in this field of automotive.
So to sum up, what do we have right now? We have our ACC adaptive cruise control system with a real radar. We have our real LiDAR on the system. And when we take a look over here, just to make it complete, we have here our system for our parking assistance for rear view drive. So that means we have a camera and we have the classical PDC system. And when I activate the noise, you hear the classic, like in the real car.
Bang.
And here I should stop, exactly. So this comes here as well. And we have the traffic sign recognition, and also, which is not direct advanced driver assistance system, but which also fits into the line of a modern system and comfort systems, this guy over here. So this is what we call the gesture control. So you all know that in modern cars, you don't have to push buttons or anything. You can control the car by voice or even just by gestures. That means you move that in order to make the next song. You go up in order to increase the volume of the music. And all that you can learn here. And this is exactly what Daniel said before. With these systems here, we're creating our own lab of a modern autonomous driving car. And each new training system, which is coming up to that, and how we increasing the product range, will make it more complete, so that we are at the end of the line at the real vehicle for autonomous driving. So as we said before, ADAS system is one of the most important topics in modern vehicles. We have also a bunch of different bus systems going in connection with that as well. So where ADAS is working together with bus systems. But what is the other topic where everyone is talking about? It's not only ADAS, it's a version, or it's a car where ADAS are also integrated, but we are talking about hybrid and electric vehicles. And this is the next point where we would like to show you what we have done there and what we have experienced there over the years, and our new product range, which is, we can say, which are the most or the world's famous training system for hybrid electric vehicle. So let's jump over to our high voltage area.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So that's a good point. What you just mentioned there about some of the exclusivity of the equipment that you're seeing here. I think it's fair to say this has been our biggest growth. And I think that's important for you as sales guys as well. The automotive department at Lucas Nuelle here has grown like crazy. Even through the COVID kind of turn down that we've seen over the last year, I don't think we've had much. I mean, we've been here continually developing new products, pumping out the webinars like crazy to people all around the world, and there's been a huge interest. And that's important for you guys because cars are getting more complex. The technology is changing like crazy. What you just showed us in ADAS.
Yes.
I grew up in the 90s in Australia, you know, doing my trade, and the cars still had carburetors and distributors.
And what does it mean as well? You could repair the car at home, basically.
Exactly. Exactly.
Especially if you're an automotive expert with lots of years at Toyota.
My dad used to do that sort of thing. He wasn't a mechanic. He was an electrician. He could fix the car.
But even Daniel said now we are here in contact with a lot of modern cars, and he, as an expert over how many years of experience do you have? 20 years?
At least.
At least. So, and I know that this guy is really, really, really full of knowledge. But even when he comes now, to a modern vehicle and he opened the bonnet or whatever and have a look at the engine bay, what was your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, it can get a bit overwhelming, and especially if you try and think back to what it's like as a young person coming straight out of high school. How are you meant to learn on these vehicles? And so it's, again, what we're trying to do is just make it more accessible and understandable for all of the people around the world. Christian and I have also been very involved in trying to gain experience. gain experience ourselves, but also to bring this to the world. And we've been heavily involved in the skills competitions around the world. So World Skills, we're at World Skills Kazan, first ever time to have high voltage at World Skills. So 2019, we were there, proudly representing Lucas Nuelle at the highest level, the international World Skills. So that was great.
Absolutely. That would go directly with my first question here to you, as Daniel is our high voltage expert. So talking about World Skills, Skills USA, and there are also other examples where the management of these events said, we need you. Absolutely. No one else and no real car. But that's the point, that's the question. Daniel, why are they? We have the best example here. Here is a real car. So what we see here is a very modern, it's the latest Audi Q5 hybrid. So this car has a real high voltage system. And I mean, if we are talking about these big events, they have enough sponsors, they have enough money. Why did they say, Daniel, we want to have Lucas Nuelle, and especially your Lucas Nuelle training system for hybrid electric vehicle? And why did they not just go with a real car?
Exactly. Well, there's a couple of things. Obviously, a real vehicle is not intended for training. A real vehicle is intended for every person, regardless of the experience they have, to drive it around and for it to be reliable. But for us as technicians to understand what's going on, you need to delve inside, deeper inside, and understand what's going on. So having a look at this vehicle here, for example, you and I, having a lot of experience, can look at this and say, okay, I can see a couple of things that make this a high voltage vehicle, but there's not much. There's a couple of red, orange cables here, and we know there's the service plug over there. Apart from that, there's not much to see. And we've obviously removed some of the components, the covers. So that's, one of the problems that we have is, first of all, accessing the high voltage system on these real vehicles.
So basically we are facing here the same problems like we did back in the day with CAN bus and all that. Exactly. It is hidden in the internal structure of the car, and we just see little glimpse of the high voltage system, but it's absolutely not possible to show to, and we have to think about that. We want to show that to people who are starting at zero. Absolutely. They have no idea from the high voltage system, basically. And that's another question for me as well, which goes hand in hand with the Skills US and the World Skills events. So we are talking about people who have to deal with that topic, who are not experts with 20 years of experience and working like the last 5 years every day on high voltage system. What are your experience from the students there? So there were students which basically have no idea of a high voltage system.
And look at the Skills USA experience is very particular as well, because you were there with me, Christian. So
that was great.
We had students, they're the best of the best. This was the national competition. So we're now at World Skills Germany, World Skills France, World Skills International. We will be at World Skills UK this year as well. And we've been at Skills USA for over 4 years now as well. So, and we're getting questions all of the time about being able to do this because they recognize it. But at Skills USA, we had the best of the best students there. So they won their state level their regional competition, and they won the state level competition, and then they went on to the national competition. But just as an example, we had students coming up, and we get them to do a shutdown procedure, which is in one of the webinars that you'll see after. And they're coming up here and removing the high voltage components without any gloves, without checking any of the gloves or anything like that. And the possibility of creating an absolute disaster is huge. And so we've taken it on the last few years is to bring awareness to the whole world about electric vehicles. They're here to stay. We know they're going to be here for a long time. It's basically the future. And so we're just making people aware that what they need to do to be safe. And what you're seeing, I just did here, if I did that on a real vehicle, the potential for either damaging the vehicle or damaging myself is very large. That's basically splitting the battery in 2 pieces there. So
you directly are in touch with the high voltage system.
Absolutely.
This is why it's orange, basically.
Exactly. This system here is completely safe, but you're seeing the high voltages that you would see. So you're giving the students the experience And we've created, Christian and myself have created, I would say, 50 hours of training, which are then
Easily, yeah.
standardized to the different standards around the world. Maybe, Christian, what other standards?
So, okay, that's interesting. There are different names for the different standards around the world. If we are starting here in Germany, for example, we are talking about the DGUV. When we jump over to the US, we are talking about the ASE. And then we have also like an international standard. Or there's another one in Australia. Don't forget, I won't forget that. Is that right?
The Australian standard has their own, but that's really only within Australia. But the German one, the DGUV, I've seen that in China. Is
absolutely, yeah.
There's lots of people in China like that one.
And furthermore, like I said, the international standards, which is coming from a very close partner from us, from the UK, it's the Institute of Motor Industry. They have created, or they've taken the challenge and found a solution for it. So what they offer is a international recognized qualification for the different levels of hybrid electric vehicle training. So you can start from the scratch and go up to the being absolutely high voltage expert and working inside the high voltage battery. What this means, we will hear later. So, but yeah, just to sum up, so there you get the real qualification into your hands at the end of the training. And this is proven then on an international level that you are a high voltage expert.
And that's really important for a lot of countries that don't have their own qualifications. So I remember a few years in China, for example, to work on the high voltage vehicles, you had to be an automotive technician and you need to be a high voltage electrician. You know, those two things
doesn't fit together.
Normally completely different people doing those sort of jobs. And so IMI, Institute of the Motor Industry, very dear friends of ours, they're working in China, for example, to bring their qualifications at the governmental level. Malaysia, IMI are quite famous there as well. Many other countries, but we're using their qualifications. And as you just showed you, I showed you the sign of an approved assessment center. That's a completely different business model for us here at Lucas Nuelle. So it allows the schools to become an IMI approved center, purchase our equipment and the e-learning, and then they can deliver the IMI qualifications themselves and make money by doing that as well. So it's really, before we just had the courses, the school could use the courses and then go, okay, done. But now we're added in that extra step where the schools can become a center, do the assessment, do the training, do the assessment, and the people get a internationally recognized qualification.
So this is what you really can call a one-stop solution for international hybrid and electric vehicle training. And just to make that sure, it is not a must to sell that. So it's like added value. When your customers are coming and they say, we need one training system for hybrid electric vehicle, then it's absolutely okay if you say, yeah, we have the best of the best here in the world, and you can offer that to them. But when the customers come to you and say, hey, Daniel, okay, basically we love your training system and we want to equip our training center with that. But to be honest, we have no idea what we really should do with it and what's the outcome of it. Exactly. And what would you answer?
The qualifications, the IMI qualifications. And there's also another perspective that you might want to think about. If you have a lab that you need to put a quote in for, like an offer, and you're worried about, because we know there's a lot of competition in Asia for, we know there's some real vehicles that can be produced really cheaply and people have some paper-based or
problem.
Things like that. If you need to be able to add in some unique selling points, this is a unique selling point like no other.
Yes. We
even have some inside knowledge to Electude, for example, and they are very jealous that we have this partnership with IMI. They tried to get a partnership with IMI, so Electude, and they decided to come with Lucas Nuelle. And so this has been a huge win for us and a way for you, if you say, okay, car trains, you know, I really need to nail down a unique selling point or a unique offer that no one else can offer. That is something that you need. If you need more detail about that, let us know, get in contact. We won't go into a huge amount of detail about that now, but
we will send you with the email, with the feedback email of that webinar of today, we will send you, we have created a special video, which just goes about 3 minutes or something like that.
Very good point, Christian.
And this summarizes what the IMI is and what our offer is perfectly within 3 minutes. And this is the perfect starting point. Watch the video, and this is also a good starting point for you. When you see additional value and a big benefit for your countries for that, then we will do an extra webinar for that, because this is a very complex topic. We've created quite a few marketing materials. We have created an internal support page in order to explain how the IMI offer works. You don't have to understand it right now. We know we are working on that for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, we know it's an absolutely great benefit for the customers, and it's a real outcome. You can get something in the hands, and it's also a return of invest, basically, because the school can charge for these qualifications, and then they get a return of invest what they have paid before. But on the other hand, we also know that this is quite challenging to offer, because it's very complex and you have to understand some bits and pieces. But don't be afraid of that. Us too, we give you the maximum support for that, and we will give you the own webinar. And it doesn't matter which questions you have and how often you have questions, always come back to us. We support you completely here, and the IMI, so our friends at the UK, are also give you the best support which they can have.
This is for me one of the most exciting, and I think for you, Christian,
absolutely,
it's one of the most exciting partnerships that we have, and this is just the start. Electric vehicle is just the start. It's a little bit early.
Something big is coming.
But to tell you, we're actually working towards light vehicle qualifications as well. So that means the complete, some would call it an apprenticeship, or the complete training for a tradesperson. So obviously, IMI have those qualifications as well. And we're in the process now of making sure that we can cover all of those qualifications, so that in the end, here we have a complete laboratory. And this is not complete, by the way. There's many other products that fit to the electric vehicle that we don't have here, but there's some basic ones. These two systems that you see here, or 3 systems, kind of like the absolute minimum that you need, but you can set up a complete laboratory full of Unitrains, full of Unitrain cards that go into great detail about the various things as well. And that's what we're doing for light vehicle as well. Might take us some time, but just to let you know that that's what we're working towards and building towards as well.
Okay, like we said, please give us feedback for that. We are able to create individual webinars for exactly the topics which you want. We are here to give you the best support, and we will do everything what you need in order to support you here. So just let us know for the future for which topics you need an individual dive into. But now just let's take a step back. So you have said all this, Daniel, regarding that we are involved in all the Skills USA, the skills events all over the world. That's perfect, because you have here the perfect trainers for it. But I mean, when we looking into this pool out of topics which are involved with hybrid electric vehicles and which have to do with that, I think one topic is the most important when we are talking about the safety.
Absolutely.
So it's the technique, yeah, okay, it's a new technique somehow for automotive guys. They have to learn that, they have to understand that, they have to understand which kind of faults can appear to the high voltage system, which are completely different to the faults of a combustion engine, for example.
Absolutely.
But one big reason why these skills competitions all over the world, and Daniel mentioned it, there are the best of the best students of the country. But even there they say, we can't let them work on a real hybrid electric vehicle because this is much too dangerous. It doesn't matter if it's the skills event or even the car manufacturers itself. We have a lot of examples all around the world that the guys from BMW, Mercedes, Audi, McLaren, they even say, we need a training solution before the real car.
Yep.
So we need something, of course, in the last step, we have to work on the real car, but beforehand, we need something which make it possible to gain, my dear friend Daniel always said it with the perfect words, a culture of safety. So what does it mean?
So understanding what you need to do before you work on the vehicle. So we don't want someone, the last thing we want is someone to go to the workshop and all of a sudden they've never touched a high voltage vehicle. Maybe we'll send the video. We just posted a video online, so on LinkedIn. It's gone absolutely viral because we're showing what happens to a cable within a high voltage vehicle when you disconnect it while it's going. It explodes. It literally explodes with an arc flash, which has a danger to, you breathe in the fumes, the fire can burn your lungs. It's a disaster.
And if you see the video, this is even a light version of a high voltage system.
It is. But we show that it's been liked over 1,000 times, 1,200 times in 3 days, which is ridiculous for
absolutely
for LinkedIn. Normally we get 20 likes or something like that. It has really struck a nerve with the people out there about electric vehicles, and so that's a video from our training course. So that's out of the LabSoft course that you see here. But what we do, and this is not just at schools, we have the feedback from schools around the world as well, saying they're getting the students building up the muscle memory. So checking the gloves. What do you need to do to make sure you're wearing the gloves? What sort of meters, digital multimeters are you using? What sort of insulation tests?
And that's an important point. We just jumped in here now into our high voltage area, but we see we're not just providing a piece of equipment, we're providing a complete solution. Like Daniel said, we have the whole package. The gloves are coming with it, the meters are coming with it, even the safety area here. All this is coming together with it because we don't want to sell, I want to stress that, one piece of hardware. We want to sell the complete solution, the one-stop solution that your customers can say and be proud of their training center, that they have everything what they need at hand directly from Lucas Nuelle or from you basically in your countries. And they could be proud that they have the first training center in their country, maybe for a hybrid electric vehicle, but there's everything out of one hand and there's everything what they need. If you have this kind of equipment together with this e-learning course, we can't tell right now how important and how great this e-learning course is, because we spent years of it doing videos on a closed test road and something like that. So we're
studying the curriculum
absolutely
around the world. We study them in detail so that we can make sure the content goes into the LabSoft course.
We can say here absolutely proudly, there's basically nothing in it what's missing. So when you got that, you have the full curriculum, you have the full e-learning for a hybrid electric vehicle, and there's no need for any additional source or for any other stuff.
Okay, so let's just have a quick look, Christian.
Absolutely.
What's new here? So some people, is this the same system that people have been used to for a few years now? This was in the company before I started in the company, or both of us. We're both 10 years in the company now. And so this has been around for a long time. So Lucas Nuelle, it's not, you know, there's an old saying, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. And that's exactly the case here. We've been working on this, but is it the same system?
Well, basically, yes. But if you take a closer look, this is exactly what Daniel has said. Over the last 10 years, we have gained a lot of new experience. And what we have done with this experience, of course, we are proud that we know now much more than 10 years ago, but we have used this knowledge and this additional diagnostic skills as well, and put them into the system. So that means what you see here, it's from the base, the same system like 10 years ago, but we have constantly updated it. What you see right now here, that's the official skills trainer from the different skills events. And this is now the state of the art and latest model where you can, do the complete high voltage training outside the high voltage battery. We can't go into any detail what we have updated here whatsoever. So, but when someone is coming to you and says, I have 5 minutes time, what are the absolutely unique selling points of that system? What would you say?
Yeah, good point. And again, I would compare it to a real car. What's the difference between this and a real car? Because sometimes, to be in all honesty, this might cost you as much as a real car. So, you know, let's be upfront about that. It's expensive. But the amount of technology behind this, the safety systems that are there is unbelievable. You know, as we mentioned before, you look at a real car, there is nothing you can test without going into the danger zone. Joe in Malaysia. Hello, g'day, my friend. You know about this because we had a car delivered to one of your customers, not a Lucas Nuelle car, it was from a competitor, and they had the high voltage battery there with zero protection, and there was breakout box directly on the battery. We walked straight up with the students and put 200 volts DC. You could touch that with your fingers right there. Okay, yeah, you can measure the battery. That's not safe though. As soon as the teacher realized what was going on there, he almost died. He was like, oh my God, how can I keep this in this classroom with my students? You have to then watch every student touching that vehicle. That doesn't exclude what's going on at the motor, at the inverter. That's the battery at 200 volts. The motor goes up to 700 volts.
Basically, you can say this example is not a training system. This is a system for experts in order to increase their knowledge and to do research.
Basically.
Yeah.
But it was at a college. It was at a trade school.
And that's a problem there. So when we refer to that system compared to this example, what is the big benefit of this system? We have a real high voltage system in here. So when we measure up here into the inverter circuit, DC circuit, what do we want to measure?
300 volts.
300 volts. We have 300 volts in the real high. So it's a real high voltage system in the training system. But what is the big difference to the real high voltage system of a car? When I do something wrong here, okay, I'm a student, I have no idea of it, and the teacher just let me go. He said, here's the course, go through the course, and just make the first steps on the system. So when I do something wrong now here, maybe I might make a short circuit or whatever, what will happen?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing. Nothing will happen.
It's designed for that. It's designed for students. You know, like we said, it's got the highest safety standards there. So
at the real car, you, in the best case, you just blow the control unit and you have to pay 4,000 or 5,000 bucks in order to repair it. In the worst case, you have a dead student basically when you do something really wrong, or what you have mentioned there before, that the car or the real high voltage system has been manipulated. And this is another big reason.
oh yeah,
We have here measuring points in the high voltage system, and much more, we have a fault simulation in the real high voltage system. So we can easily inject faults within seconds to the real high voltage system. Okay, when I now come as a teacher to you and say, but I have this Toyota Prius here, for example, why should I take that? Because it's great that you have fault simulation on breakout boxes, but I just will do that on my own with the car.
great. Yeah, good luck. You can have those faults, absolutely. And this is, and again, we'll be honest to you, you can teach with real vehicles in the classroom, and you can build these faults into real vehicles, but you increase the liability. If something goes wrong, who's responsible for that? The teacher, whoever makes that vehicle. The potential to go wrong is huge.
And to go wrong means in that instant, what can happen here? We're basically not talking about that someone will die, but just like Daniel mentioned, you modify the high voltage system and you do something wrong, or someone leaves the fault activated, and this leads to a short circuit in the high voltage battery. The high voltage battery will heat up, it will catch fire. That's maybe in the middle of the night. And on the next day, there's no training center anymore.
Exactly. Another example that I've seen before as well, having a real vehicle, someone made a mistake, taking the inverter off, and essentially caused a short circuit inside an inverter, and that vehicle was then out of action for months. They couldn't do anything on the vehicle because there was a problem. One of the students made a mistake, actually caused some big problems, and that was it. The vehicle was sitting there for months and no one could do anything. And so obviously all of those things there, and you know this system, it's been around for a long time, so we're not telling you anything new here, but you can't drive a vehicle around as well out in the car park, maybe at your institute, maybe not. Here the students can drive the system around and see what is occurring, which motors are working, which electric motors, which combustion engines. So, but we go into great detail about that.
Absolutely.
There's a 2-hour webinar on this system alone.
Just 2 things on that as well. Another question. So for example, we have here the Audi Q5 hybrid. And we know that there are pure electric vehicles on the road, like the Tesla, for example. So when I want to teach and make a holistic approach to that, I have to teach all different kind of hybrid drives, maybe people doesn't know it, that there are different kind of hybrid drives. So how many different drive types are existing right now on the road?
Well, that's an interesting, interesting point. I mean, rough concepts, there's about 5 different ones, the different types of hybrids. Is it an electric vehicle with a range extender? Is it a normal engine with an electric motor to boost it? Is it like the Toyota Prius where it's a full hybrid, or is it a plug-in hybrid, or is it an electric, pure electric vehicle, or a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle?
But if you want to show the difference between these different types of drives, for example, how the high voltage system react during driving, how the setup is of the different systems, you would need for each drive system a own car, right?
Christian, a customer of ours in the US went and got $250,000 and bought 5 vehicles. Got the vehicles in the workshop, in the school workshop, and then was like, oh my God, I can't get my students to work on this. He bought them so that he could have all of the different hybrids that I just spoke about, and they didn't use them. He got this, you know, for just a fraction of that price.
Absolutely.
And he was like, oh my God, I wish I had that.
Because I have all the 5 drive types inside the system. Oh, sorry, yeah. That's basically, by the way,
throw it on the ground.
You have seen that this looks pretty much the same, but there is a big difference. This is the one which you know for light vehicle, and this one is the one for heavy duty vehicles. So as you see, take a close look at the picture, you see here there's a truck. And there are some bits and pieces which are different. The basic is the same, of course, because we're talking of high voltage system. But here, of course, we have a different e-learning course and made some changes. For example, as you see here, you have a completely different look of the touchscreen. This looks like a heavy duty truck. So just to make it clear for you, we have now added or extended our offer, not only for light vehicle, but also for heavy duty vehicle. And that is just an example for the introductory system, but also the high voltage battery trainer exists now in a version for heavy duty vehicle.
And just while we're on that, so heavy vehicle is also, so it's talking about trucks, but in this case, there's also buses. I know
Absolutely.
We know in Asia that electric buses are becoming huge as well.
You're much more further than we are here.
So this is based on the same system. The e-learning course will go into that. If we get a lot of requests where you say, oh, we've got a bus manufacturer here and they want to do it, hey, let's talk. We might be able to put a picture of a bus on there instead of a truck.
Easy. Same we did for McLaren. So when there is a company coming from the industry and says, we want to have our look and feel on that training system. We love the training system, but we need our look and feel. It's easy for us to change the print of the car and to change the logo. We can put any kind of logo from the company on it, whatever you want.
Fuso trucks.
Fuso trucks, for example, in Japan, exactly. This is a corporation out of Mitsubishi and Mercedes. They got their own heavy-duty truck train where we put the picture of their truck on it, and even we are able to modify the cockpit view, of course. So there, just talk to us. When it makes difference, we want to create a win-win situation for both sides, but we are absolutely open to modify that to the needs of the industry customer, for example.
The McLaren one was also really cool. We got a McLaren concept car built on, printed on there, because we do everything here in the right where we're standing. 100 meters from where we are is the printer where we print out these boards. If you've been here, you've seen it. If you haven't been here yet, we look forward to having you here. But we'll see the printer where we printed that. So we can do that. Christian did it. He worked with a developer to put it on there. So everything is done here by us in the company.
And just as a note there, this McLaren project was realized through the IMI. So if you need some arguments for your customers when they are asking, okay, you want to sell me that equipment, Daniel, but where is it? Which other car manufacturers or which customer are using it in the world? Together with the IMI, we have really, really strong customers and good project examples where you can show, look, here you have a good base of argumentation, or just see what the global player, basically the global players of automotive industry are using these systems together with the IMI.
Okay, so if we just swing around to this section here now, please. We'll have a look at the, so I think we're basically running out of time, Christian.
Yes.
So,
like we said, that's always the problem when we are talking here, because we could go on for hours and hours on these systems.
Christian and I together will just talk your heads off. So
Absolutely.
we'll keep talking. So we'll just keep it very brief now. Some of you may be aware of this one. It's been around for a few years now, but this one is taking off like nothing. It's taking off like a rocket, in fact. So this is looking inside the battery. So the one that we just showed you is kind of like the introductory version into hybrid and electric vehicles. This one now is a deep dive, going deep into especially the battery of electric vehicles. And that's what we've identified as the future, basically where the problem's going to be with this whole revolution to electric vehicles, is what's going inside the battery.
So to make it easy to understand, this system is around the high voltage battery. So what we are talking here, and this system goes into the high voltage battery, okay?
Exactly. So, and it's kind of like the introductory and advanced systems for technicians, not so much for universities. We've had some universities express interest, especially in this one, but also as a way to train their people up on both of these systems. But if you say, look, we've got the school has a limited budget, we can't set up a complete laboratory. Step one, this guy here, 1, 2, 3, you know, we've got schools that go and buy 4 of these just so that their students can go and work on it. If there's room for the budget, this is second step. And then also the next step is the complete laboratory. But maybe looking at this brand new product is another step.
Before you go to that, just one thing I want to add here as well, which also comes through LinkedIn. So basically, we all know that. Yeah,
I can actually share that as a. So let me just pop it up. I've got it on this computer.
Yeah, that's
so
a good
you talk
idea.
about it, and I'll bring it up.
What I want to talk about now quickly is hybrid electric vehicle. As we know, is one of the most important topics for automotive industry around the world. So for each country. But we are talking, or we're just focusing right now, or we have just talked about the workshops, about the automotive technicians. But when we want to make sure that that hybrid electric vehicle becomes a success in each country, we have to make sure that it's accepted by the society of the country. And that is not only including enough in a good infrastructure, charging points, workshops with skilled experts who have the diagnostic skills and who can easily repair this type of cars. We also have to talk about the first responders of the countries. So of course, as more and more hybrid electric vehicles will be on the road, as more of these cars will be involved into accidents. And in this stage, it's great when we have high voltage experts in the workshop, but at this stage, they won't touch the car. What happens there is that the first responders, like the police officers, the firefighters, the tow truck drivers, even other forces of the police, they will get in touch with these kind of cars first. And as it's been there is quite a risk or a danger behind these cars for the automotive technicians inside the workshop. But this also means there is a high risk for these first responders, because they have they are non-technical. They have no idea about this technical system, what's going on inside the high voltage system. But they don't have to deal with the car in good condition. They have to deal with a car which is basically heavily damaged. And in the worst case, there's even the high voltage battery damaged and catch up on fire. So, and this is a complete new situation for these kind of guys, and they really have to understand what they have to do there on these kind of cars. How can they extinguish the fire? How can they approach on? Daniel has shared perfect. So they see it right now, right?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So what Daniel has done here, and this is exclusively for you, so no one else have seen that before. This is the system what we right now are developing. Thanks, Dila. So what you see there basically is a new car train just for first responders. From all over the world, we got requests. You are the most, or you are producing the state-of-art training systems for hybrid electric vehicle training. You are the world's best supplier for that. But from everywhere around the world, we got asked the question, but what is with the first responders? If you open the news magazines and if you do a Google search, basically out of any country, there are news matches which said, fire, accident with high voltage system, firefighters don't know how to react, there is missing training for firefighters. And what have we done here? We have, of course, accepted this challenge and created another one-stop solution, but now not only for automotive technicians, but for first responders. And of course, who can use this kind of system? This system can be used, of course, also by Automotive Training Center, who want to give additional training for non-technical people, so they have another added value and also return of invest, because they can offer other trainings concepts here or trainings programs. But of course, we are also approaching here a complete new customer base, talking of the training center for firefighters, for police officers, and so on. We see that we are running out of time right now and we have a lot of questions, but this was just important to show to you. Please have an eye on that topic into your country. Make sure, go into the market with this idea and try to increase or raise the interest of the people. Try to make contact to first responder trainers or training centers in your country, that you make them aware of that by August we will have the world's first exclusively training system for first responders, containing out of the hardware and out of a complete e-learning course. And also here we have a special kind of fault simulation into it. All right, so this just as a side information. I hope this is interesting for you. If you have additional questions for this first responder stuff, just go back to me or to Daniel, and we will also make separate webinars with you on that topic. But Daniel, you just mentioned another thing as well.
So actually, thanks, Chris. So that was important. As you mentioned, it's the product's not ready yet, but sometimes we understand that it takes time to build up new networks and systems for your customers to understand what's coming down the track.
So coming now from the car trains, which are on a higher level of our automotive concept, in the last step now to the training system for hybrid electric vehicle, which will be the introduction to it. So that means we have developed there, or no, when you see the system, you will recognize it, but Daniel will mention what are the difference and why it's so special right now.
Exactly. So a lot of you, this is one of the favorite of sales guys is the three-phase machines that you know. So that's this guy here. And obviously, if we look at electric vehicles now, we've got the different types. There's hundreds of electric vehicles out there now. But one of the main differences is the synchronous or asynchronous magnets or induction machines. Obviously, this is something we can just plug in, plug out. So go from Toyota to Tesla like that. Good luck having any competitor doing anything even closely to that. But you know this system. This has been around for a long time. So what we've done here is we've taken this guy out that you know, and we've replaced it with an automotive specific. So the secret was back in the day, this was actually one of the drive machine systems. So
from the other product area.
From the other product areas, and we made it fit into a hybrid system, we called it, hybrid electric vehicles. Now we've turned it into a dedicated electric vehicle. This here is now the battery system of a real vehicle, and this is going to go into great detail. I really can't wait. This is brand new. This is the first of the systems made after the prototype. And this is now going to act like an electric vehicle. So, you know, we've got things like the service plug that you see here, orange. So you need to take that off before you can access the next pieces, things like that. We'll be doing a webinar on this probably in the next, I would say next 2-3 weeks, 1 month, let's say. But this is now going to be, and this is going to make it a little bit more affordable for the for schools as well. Being able to have this, which goes into, it's going to be interesting. You can either go into detail about the electric motors, or you can then go into
but which is interesting about that as well is, so basically what you say, we have a real high voltage system here. Basically, it's an electric vehicle right here. but we don't need any kind of helmet or something like that to work on that.
Well, you can't wear it because
Of course you can wear it. Maybe I look stupid with it, so I'm happy when I don't have to wear it.
You don't need that hat to look stupid.
Thanks. But basically here, its introduction, it shows or it gives you the same feeling like a high voltage system without being in the danger of touching any kind of high voltage.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we better leave it at that. I mean,
Okay,
if you need to go because we've set it to the time, we're going to have a shift back to the other camera there.
Absolutely.
We will be here. If you have any questions, just let us know.
Questions. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We're getting the
We're going over.
Della, thank you very much for all your great help there as
Absolutely.
well, getting it ready. If perhaps first, if you've got any technical questions or anything, I'm not sure if how it's looking
Can
on
you
the.
go a little bit back? Yeah. Perfectly. So we're in the picture.
G'day, Anto. Thanks for joining in.
So wow, there are quite a few. So we just have now the first look on the participation list and on your questions. So first of all, to say thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it absolutely that you take your time and spend it here in the webinar. It was great for us to give you this light dive into the new topics. We really hope that you like it. And this means additional value for you. And please give us your feedback to that event as well, so that we always can improve it.
And talking about feedback, so there's actually a poll now in the it'll come up as a pop-up within Zoom here. So if you could just fill that out for us, please let us know what we can do to make it better, to give you the information that you need to help sell these products. So I'll just go over to the computer to have a look at any of the questions that come in.
In the meantime, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, wow, that was a very fast trip you made over our systems. It was very interesting, I guess.
We hope so.
And now the floor is open for your questions. I think we didn't promise too much. I mean, Christian and Daniel are one of our best entertainers here in the company. So please go on if you have any questions. Again, we would send you an email on Monday covering all the topics, where you get the brochures. We send you the links to the YouTube videos and so on. So you don't have to take care of this. You will get it beginning of next week.
And don't forget, if you have the customers where you say, look, we can't, because normally we come over and travel, we're visiting the customers, we can help you. We're here in the company, we understand the products, we understand the philosophy. We're a bit closer than you are a lot of these times. So sometimes we come there to help you get over the line, talking with customers. And obviously we can't do that right now. And if you need our support, where you say, look, I've got a customer, it's a university, it's a college, it's a manufacturer, and they're saying, I like it, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Hey, let us know. We will do a webinar. We've done over 200 webinars from March to December last year. And as we said before, that's where we found a lot of success. So that option is always available.
See that as a starting point right now from our automotive perspective. And now you have the chance to let us know in what direction you want to evolve and where you want to go into more detail. And we are happy to go that way together with you.
Yeah, again, thanks a lot, Christian. Thanks, Daniel. And I can only repeat what I said before. I mean, give us feedback on the format, on the content we have provided. And again, if you have further questions, take this as a teaser today, and we will provide you more detailed seminars on the different trainer systems. And please keep in mind, with our new ideas, for example, the car train for buses. I mean, you're based in very big cities with big public transportation systems and companies, and they are one of the first who put in electrical vehicles in the city system with the buses. they quite often they run also metro systems, and they need electricians and skilled people in order to maintain those systems. And the bus is a new system and might be an entry point for us to support them in their training sessions. Yeah, once again, thanks a lot for the guys doing the presentation today.
Lunch today, right?
It was so good. You get even dinner. Yeah? Okay. So thanks a lot. I don't know. I think Les will say some more words. Thanks for participating. I hope to see you next week again, or to speak to you next week when you come back to us on certain topics. And I hand over now to Les and say once again, thank you. Have a nice weekend and stay safe.
Thanks very much, Fred. Yeah, thanks a lot for being with us today. What I've seen is from your answers is that the next thing we're going to have to do is power engineering. Quite a lot of you have asked for that to be the next topic, so I think we'll try to get something arranged in that field. What's also interesting to see is how important this ADAS and autonomous driving systems are. So I think that's something that will be very well accepted by Daniel and by Christian. So I've seen there are some questions coming in. I can't see them from here at the moment, so I can't really ask them. No questions? Okay, just feedback. I think some of you are aware we do have some competition in the market, which of course we need to know about. So please get back to us and let us know about what you see, what's going on outside, so that we can take that into consideration and give you some additional information how to tackle the competition. Yeah. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for attending. I must tell you all that nearly every single country in the Far East has joined us today, so I'm very happy about that. And I think it's been a good job from Fred to get this organized. And thank you very much for your time, Christian and Della, and also Daniel for helping us in this area. Yeah. Okay, it's fun. It's great fun, and if we can help you, we're very happy to do this. Thanks very much. Take care. Stay safe. Yeah, I'll give you back now to Fred, or who wants to have the mic. Any questions from your side? Please feel free. No, we're here. No.
We'll hang around for 5 minutes or so, yeah. Christian, myself. If there's any technical questions, yeah. You can switch your microphones on now, maybe if you want. Can I
just take a look at?
Lai has a question.
Just switch on your microphone.
Lai, we can't hear you. Just
do we will have a fully commissionable autonomous drive system?
We're not planning anything yet, to be honest with you.
That's so Lai, yeah, we got your question, but this is right now too early. So we are pointing to the long-term goal to have this fully autonomous driving lab and all the systems for it. But right now, this is too early to speak about that. So at first, we are creating all the different ADAS system before we go on with this big picture then of autonomous driving.
That's not really a focus of vocational education. Obviously, here at LN in the automotive department, our main focus is on vocational education. Of course, that's not always 100% true, but our main focus in this case is first cover the basics of technician level. As far as a fully autonomous, I think you're talking about the programming, the integration of systems, and that's more at a higher level. And that's probably closer to what Schaubus is doing for the machine learning of the thing. Not saying that it's not possible, but at this stage, that would be a massive thing. So we're not looking at that yet.
What I'd like to explain to the guys is that there's been recently in China like a big how do you call it, exhibition, and there are certain companies, they have like small models of cars driving around autonomously. You know, this is what's going on in China at the moment. Very impressive, but as I say, it's not clear for us the learning capabilities of such systems. It's one thing to build a model and to have it running, as to having a model where you can.
What do you learn from?
What do you learn from
I mean, like I said, most of these systems are about programming. That would be totally outside of everything that you see here. Is it, again, technician level, hands-on, being able to understand how the system works and then understand enough to repair it or diagnose it. That system would be an island system outside of our current offer. So I'm not saying that it's not a good thing, absolutely, but it would then be something different to what we currently offer.
Just let us know what's going on live, so we can see what's happening, and we can then work out how we fit into the big picture.
What is Herbert, our friend Herbert Lonsdale, he always says, where volume and opportunity converge is something that we're interested in. So if there's a lot of interest, then hey, we need to look at it, and we can create things. You know, we really love, Christian, myself, we love the feedback from you guys and say, look, there's an opportunity. Absolutely. If we can do it, we'll have a look at it. So perhaps if anyone's got a question, put it in chat first and then switch your microphone on. If you've got any questions, we've still got 20, 30 people in the meeting at the moment, so it might be a bit much if everyone turns it on, but if you've got a question, let us know right now, or otherwise.
And we can answer the question also by email later, or just type it in, go with it when you just think about it on your own.
Later. Yeah.
And then your question will definitely be answered, now or later.
Christian will work all weekend to answer your questions.
Daniel too.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. Hi.
Hi.
Hope you're all doing good.
Who's speaking?
Good.
Yeah, I'm Ranga from Model Corporation, Sri Lanka.
Okay. Oh, Ranga.
Hi, good to hear from you.
Just a small question. Now, in Sri Lanka, there are mostly, they use Japanese vehicles, right?
Yes.
So are the battery systems are same to the Europe? The designs, the capacities?
Yeah, so I think, and again, we've actually got a number of systems that would help here. So if we go back to the fundamentals, we don't have the fundamental trainer right here, but the fundamental trainer comes in two versions. We've got the European version, we've also got the Japanese version. And so the system is exactly the same. So it's a Unitrain system. It looks very similar to this one, but it's got the symbols that you would find on Japanese vehicles. And so that's the beginning. So that's not what you exactly asked, but it's maybe interesting for you to understand that. But for the batteries, what we have here is also a generic battery. It's not tied to a Japanese vehicle or a European vehicle. We've made it, it's a unique system. You don't have to buy a scan tool from Toyota. The scan tool is built in, you'll see that. But essentially the batteries, what's going on inside is exactly the same. So in this case, we're using a lithium battery, lithium architecture within the battery, and the battery management system. How it operates is exactly the same on a Japanese vehicle as it is to a European vehicle, as it is to a USA, North American
And this is the
vehicle.
example as well that the manufacturer of the cells, for example, Panasonic or whosoever, they deliver their cells to different car manufacturers. So this Panasonic cell, for example, can be in a Japanese car as well as a European car, and it's exactly the same cell.
Yeah.
So this is why we have that approach. The only difference is from the diagnostic side, like Daniel mentioned, that you need for the deep dive into the high voltage system of a car, you need a special diagnostic tester of the car manufacturer. And we have done here our own car manufacturer tester. So this is our car manufacturer tester. It's from the handling, exactly the same like any other tester as well. Pretty easy to understand, translated in all the different languages. But this is just the deal nowadays. There is no general tester for hybrid or high voltage system, where you can access all the cars. This is right now part of the car manufacturer tester of their individual ones.
That's a good point. So we've often supplied the Snap-on or the Sun scan tools for our the other car trains, so the motor management systems, because they're at a very basic level. this to go inside the battery, we can't even go inside the battery on this Audi that we have here. It's locked out. You need the, you know, the 20,000 euro, whatever it is, you need to have that in order to go deep into it. We don't even have that. And so we had to make that from scratch. And so again, a car in Europe is the same as a car in Asia, is the same as a car in America. So the technology is essentially the same, and we make it generic enough that it can be then translated across the whole world, essentially.
True.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the explanation.
You're welcome.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Good afternoon from Shanghai.
Huh? Ah, Lai.
Good afternoon from Shanghai. Yeah. I still have another question. It's
Please.
related to the new cost of electrical motor drive, because I have seen we have a new car to simulate the high HV battery, but we still have another course called HV battery disconnection unit. Is this cost will be also upgraded in the future, or it remains the same?
So what we've done is we've actually replaced that one. So that one, back when we made that, so very good point, Lai, and well done for picking that up. So back in the day, probably 4 years ago, we designed one Unitrain card on its own for high voltage disconnect, so high voltage battery disconnect relays. And that's exactly what you're talking about there, but it was just on its own. One day we were playing around,
Yes.
and our colleague Bound, and we thought, hang on, can we put that into the normal one? And we actually plugged that one in, and we could then run what you just seen then using the old one, but it wasn't optimized for it. So what we've done is we've completely remade that battery disconnect unit and made it to fit in within the 3 pieces there now. And so it has double function. You can look at it just on its own like that, replacing the old version that we had, or you can, if you've got the, you've already got the old course 6V, the 3 cards with the old card, you can just purchase this one card to upgrade it, or you can buy it on its own, or you can buy it as all 3. I wouldn't recommend it buying it on its own because it doesn't have that extra value there. But if you can upgrade the old course or can buy all 3 systems complete, you're looking at something very, very valuable for training.
So to tell you that the roadmap, so the first step is now that this system is already in the offering system. So we are just finishing the course for that. So this will be the first article with this new card, which will be available for the customers. Then there will also be an update article number where you can buy the new course and this new card for customers who have the old course, because it doesn't make sense to buy the other 2 cards again, because they are exactly the same. So there will be then, in the next step, there will be update article number for all the customers who have the old 6V course. And then after that, this card will be used as a single product to replace the high voltage battery disconnect unit card, but therefore we have also to write a new course. So this will be then the last step of this realignment of this with this new card.
Okay, clear. Thank you.
Perfect. Say hello to Luke, please.
All the colleagues there for us.
Will do. Keep safe.
So, anyone else? Well, you've got us. We're here. Feel free to ask us any questions. Doesn't have to be about what you learned today. If you've got anything else that you have, general automotive questions, or why you've got Manfred and Les here, might be a chance to ask them.
No? No questions?
Then we were very clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, again, from my side, thank you very much. I've missed seeing you guys over the last 1.5 years. It's been a while since I've personally been to Asia, but looking forward to life getting back to normal again. But I think this is a good compromise, in the very least, that we can still get the information out to you people.
Except that we can't eat the great seafood from those countries.
That's true. That's true. But Manfred's going to get us a good lunch soon, so that's fine.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
What?
Perfect. I mean, filet
Talking of seafood and coming to McDonald's. Yeah, very nice.
filet fish.
So Della, come in the camera so that people can see who's been operating
Ooh,
the cameras.
yeah. Our best.
Okay.
There's Della. Della is now working, or she has always been working with the academy with Daniel.
Right hand of Daniel.
She has been now with us 1 year. So congratulations on your first year, Della. No? And thanks very much for your assistance here.
And she's
It's
also
very much
our
appreciated.
expert on power engineering. So
Yeah,
she will be,
that's true. And maybe next time, I say power engineering, I think will be the next thing that we will do for you. That was the thing that was asked for the most. So, and Della is also an expert in this area, so maybe she'll do that thing all on her own. She won't need us at all.
Yay.
Yeah? Okay.
So there, Daniel and I are bloody beginners. So
we'll
only
be
Della
behind
can
the
do
camera.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend. Much appreciated that you took the time on a Friday afternoon, evening to join us. I hope it was beneficial for you all. And of course, we'll be looking at the orders, how they're going to increase over the next few years. Okay?
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care. Thanks a lot. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Bye for now.